So this is what G-Wolves are calling their HTX Mini, an ultra lightweight wireless gaming mouse coming in at only 27 grams. This is one of the lightest wireless mouse you can actually buy just right out of the box. You don't have to pre-order or wait in a queue for all night just to buy, some kind of prototype mouse. It's a pretty aggressive, specific mouse built almost entirely for fingertip grip users, people who honestly take their aiming pretty seriously. In my personal opinion, I believe it is a full-size mouse as it's got an entire shell. It doesn't have visible cutouts or holes on the outer shell. There's obviously going to be some mixed opinions about what we would consider a full-sized mouse, but in my personal opinion, I believe this is what the end game lightest full-size mouse on the planet is. Obviously, it's not going to appeal to everyone, and it definitely has some quirks, but the performance you get out of this thing is it's actually genuinely insane. I mean, it honestly feels like the inertia that you have using lightweight mouse is just ridiculous. It's the closest thing to raw input you can have with a wireless gaming mouse. When I first picked up this mouse outside of the box, I couldn't believe that this thing had a battery, a sensor, a scroll wheel, and side buttons coming in at only 27 grams. I mean, it genuinely feels like some type of, CIA prototype mouse. I mean, it's ridiculous, honestly. Like I said before, I mean, there is almost zero inertia when you move your wrist, meaning, you don't have to fight the weight of the mouse to stop your crosshair on a target. So looking at the mouse, obviously it's incredibly small, so having grip issues is going to be a bit of a problem for some people. Some people sweat a bit when they game, or they just kind of need extra grip when they game because they hold the mouse pretty firmly. And I can say that for me personally, I don't use grip tapes, and I haven't had to use grip tapes on this mouse, but I'd say for the majority of people, you're going to want to use grip tapes. The raw plastic shell has pretty much zero coating on it, so even if your hands get slightly warm while playing, it kind of feels really slippery. So putting on the side grips honestly solves that issue that I found, but I only use the grip tapes for about a week, and then I kind of realized that I don't really need them. So, but it's something you have to deal with out of the box, honestly. But the box comes with any type of grip tapes you need, so it shouldn't really be an issue. The dimensions on this thing are obviously very small. It is only 109 millimeters long and 35 millimeters at its highest point. It features a symmetrical shape with subtle rear bump and curved sides that lock your fingers into place, which is really nice. Standout feature here though is the front button height. It sits a lot lower to the mouse pad than almost any other wireless mouse on the market. On a lot of small mice, a tall front end forces your knuckles into a steep, kind of uncomfortable angle, but because this layout is so flat, your hand stays relaxed, a completely natural posture. For myself and a lot of people who are going to use this mouse for a fingertip grip, the ergonomics feel so nice. I mean, it's almost perfect. So looking at the internals of this mouse, they use a PixArt sensor combined with a Nordic MCU, supporting up to an 8,000 Hz polling rate. Tracking is flawless. Though running it at full 8K will drain the battery so much faster than standard 1000 or 2000 Hertz mode. I personally don't use 8000 Hertz. I don't really see any competitive gamer using 8000 Hertz at all either, because it just uses way too much CPU. The interesting part though is sensor placement. It's pushed noticeably far forward on the bottom of the shell. So for fingertip players, this is actually a huge advantage because the sensor is closer to your fingertips. So those micro adjustments, translate to slightly faster crosshair movement on screen without without forcing you to move your actual wrist as much. To keep the front profile this low, they used the low profile arm run mechanical switches instead of the standard full-sized ones. They feel really crisp and fast. They don't have that deep, heavy tactile snap that you get from a Huano switch, which some people really enjoy, and I do enjoy as well. But the scroll wheel uses a TTC gold encoder, giving you a very distinct heavy step so you won't accidentally swap weapons mid-fight. With it being only 27 grams, you know, you'd kind of assume that there would be some flex or creak if you squeezed it. You know, if you're an aimer who holds your mouse pretty firm, you know, you could feel some bend. But G-Wolves has actually used an extended internal PCB to stiffen the whole frame. The build quality is honestly surprisingly solid. It's obviously light, but it does not feel cheap or fragile at all. So the HTX Mini is coming in at around 159 USD. It is quite expensive for a gaming mouse, and it is an entirely niche product. If you prefer a palm grip or if you have larger hands, this is obviously not the mouse for you. But if you are a fingertip grip user and enthusiast and you're looking to drop your mouse weight as low as possible without sacrificing sensor tech or structural integrity or that full-size mouse option, this is an absolute insane mouse for you. It will take a couple of days to adjust to the lack of weight, but for me personally, right out of the box, when I started using this thing, I was in love with it. I mean, the inertia, like I've said again, is just ridiculous. But yeah, overall, the aiming experience that mainstream brands, they're just not building these type of mouse right now. As always, I'll have this mouse linked in the description. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.